What's up, guys? Today, we're gonna be watching a horror story, Lockdown. I already watched 12 minutes of it, so we're just gonna watch the last one together. Let me like, okay.
I'm from Sacramento, California, and I went to this public school in our vicinity. I was in 6th grade and had lots of friends that I loved hanging out with. It was one of the reasons I loved showing up every day. That Tuesday morning was meant to be yet another regular day. I had language arts 3rd period and we were supposed to go to the library for research. My teacher walked us down the hall and we all spread out looking for books. I was in the back corner looking at books about ancient Egypt for my project. All of a sudden, I heard loud gunshots somewhere in the school. Initially, I figured it was just construction or maybe something busted, until the screaming started, and I saw people hauling butt down the hallways. My teacher screamed at us to take cover. A few kids bolted toward the library office, and others ducked behind desks. I saw the bottom shelf in the corner with barely enough space to fit if I made myself really small. Without thinking twice, I crawled underneath and pulled my knees to my chest, making myself as tiny as possible. The screaming outside was getting louder as the gunshots kept booming. They all sounded much closer now. I could hear people running right past the library. It went on for a few minutes before the screaming stopped, and everything went dead quiet. I was shaking like a leaf. I badly wanted to get home, but stayed glued under the shelf, trying not to move or make a single peep, as my mom had instructed I should do in such situations. I have no idea how long I was hiding there before I heard the library doors squeak open and heavy boots walk in. I held my breath and tried to shrink in on myself. The footsteps were slow and super deliberate, like someone was taking their time walking between the shelves. I could hear heavy breathing, almost like they'd been running or something. Seconds later, books started clattering to the floor from the shelves. I covered my mouth so I wouldn't make a sound as the
What?
I wonder how to add in clip it, right?
footsteps kept moving, getting closer and closer to my hiding spot. I could hear a man's voice talking to himself. I couldn't make out words, but he sounded pissed off. The footsteps were going back and forth by the same shelves. I finally realized he wasn't actually looking for anyone. He was hiding too. When I listened carefully, I could hear faint police sirens. Could it be that he was hiding from the cops and had no idea I was even here? Minutes passed. The pacing stopped, and total silence prevailed. I stayed frozen under the shelf, with my legs cramping bad and my back hurting from being curled up. But I didn't move and barely breathed. Who? The guy suddenly jerked up as if he had sensed a presence. The shuffling resumed. He was really searching now, looking through shelves and checking behind desks and opening cabinets. I was about to cry. My heart was pounding so loud I was sure he could hear it too. I clamped my hand over my chest, but that didn't help one bit. He was just one shelf away now. I could see his boots through the gap, moving slowly. He'd stop and check before he moved again. I had to move. Pronto. I knew if I stayed put, he'd spot me in a second. I quickly wiped my face and started crawling inch by inch, keeping low and moving under the shelves toward the exit. The carpet was scraping my elbows. Suddenly, my backpack snagged on a shelf and made a tiny hiss. I froze. The boots stopped. He'd heard it too. I kept crawling, faster now. I didn't care about being quiet anymore. I could hear him moving faster too, searching frantically. I reached the end of the shelves. The exit door was maybe 10 feet away. I could see it and just had to get there. The boots were right behind me and getting closer. I stood up, ran, and shoved the door open with both hands as hard as I could. Right then, a gunshot exploded inches away from my ear. The bullet slammed into the wall right next to my head, and pieces of plaster hit my face. I screamed, but didn't stop. I kept running out the door and down the hallway. I could hear yelling behind me and several footsteps. The cops had made it inside. "Get down! Get down!" one of them yelled. I dropped to the floor and put my hands over my head. I heard more yelling and scuffling, and the sound of someone being tackled, followed by handcuffs clicking. You okay, girl? You're safe now. A cop patted my back seconds later. I couldn't talk or move. I just lay there on the floor shaking. They carried me outside. There were ambulances everywhere and police cars. Parents were screaming and crying. My mom was one of them. The moment she saw me, she grabbed me and held me so tight I couldn't breathe. She was sobbing and saying my name over and over while I stood there numb. 5 kids died that day. 12 were injured. The man who came into the library was the shooter. He'd run out of ammunition and was hiding from the police when I was under the shelf. If I'd stayed there, he would have found me. He only had 1 bullet left, and he would have used it. My mom pulled me out of that school a month later. She decided I'd be homeschooled till I reached university. I miss the school days and hanging out with my friends, but I can't handle being in buildings with lots of people or loud noises. Can't handle silence either, because silence reminds me of hiding under the shelf waiting to be found. I hate what he did to all of us without actually having to kill. The worst part is knowing that it could happen again, anywhere, anytime.
This is video. Okay, hope y'all like and subscribe. That was all. Whoever
I need women to know that you're not limited to